I apologize if there's a lack of energy in this video, but I have had one exhausting week. Not that a whole lot of bad stuff has happened or anything like that. It's just, I'm just worn out. Just tired and worn out and crazy and all this other stuff. Just really busy. Just a very, very busy week. And I can't wait for the weekend where I can actually get some sleep. But, so that's my apology right off the bat. If this video is not very good. But, although some of you may be thinking, none of your videos are good. Fuck you. But anyway. Yeah, a lot to talk about in terms of wrestling this week. Just to go over some of the highlights, Ring of Honor, I thought Jay Lethal and Mark Briscoe had a pretty good match on this week's episode on Destination America. A few shenanigans and everything like that, but overall I thought it was a fun match. I enjoyed it. And overall, Ring of Honor, their storylines are progressing now, which is, they kind of took a break for a couple weeks and didn't advance anything, and I was like, all right, we just stagnant now, or what's going on? But they're advancing storylines now, and that's kind of cool. So, again, we've got Death Before Dishonor coming up, which is going to be in Baltimore, and I might be up to going to that. So we'll see how I'm feeling in a week. Let's see, it'll be next week, I believe. So I might end up going to that if it's in Baltimore, but again, we shall see. So that's Ring of Honor. TNA, I like EC3, and that's about it. I mean, that's basically the show right now. It's the EC3 show. He's the only thing I even look forward to seeing anymore. And not knocking any of the other guys necessarily. It's just that nobody else has any intrigue, and nobody else is really that fresh. I mean, I love Bobby Roode, but I've been watching him for, 10, 11 years, and it's not like there's... it's not like he's the most original thing on the planet or anything. The Wolves, I've been watching, them for a long time now, but they're like the lone good tag team in a show that has very few tag teams, so it's like, whatever. X Division, would be nice, except they just do 4-ways and 5-ways every single week, and it's always for the title, so who gives a crap? It's just, there's nothing of intrigue going on over there. Oh, Bully Ray's in charge of the show now. I don't care. So that's TNA. NXT, I thought Charlotte and Sasha Banks had an outstanding match in the main event this week. I thought they had a killer match. And I'm going to talk a lot about Charlotte and Sasha Banks. That's actually going to be the main topic of the video. But I do want to praise them for that match. I thought it was an absolutely terrific match. Great stuff. I mean, you would expect that from them, right? And it felt like kind of a send-off for them, because obviously after what happened on Monday, we know what their ultimate future is. But yeah, it was just a great match. Loved it. Very good. And a couple of other good things. NXT's building up their tag division again, which I like. Some people are down on the Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley pairing. In my mind, it's like, well, it's a pair of bodies that you can throw out there as a tag team, so I'm fine with it. The Vaudevillains are #1 contenders, which I think they should win the titles, because they're just... I love the Vaudevillains immensely. I would love it if they won the titles. It would make me happy. You got Enzo and Cass, who are really entertaining and mad over. Blake and Murphy are getting better. I think now that they've gotten past that phase where they were pushed to the titles too quickly, and they've got Alexa Bliss with them now, I think they're kind of developing into something solid. So, yeah, there's that. And now you got Jason Jordan and Chad Gable, which I think is a nice little odd couple pairing. And Chad Gable's pretty funny. And I love that they actually built them up over the course of a few weeks, with Jordan trying to find a partner and Gable throwing his name out there. They actually, were building up anticipation for the team's debut without doing vignettes, but doing these little comedy moments backstage with Gable trying to, plead to Jordan to be his partner. It made for a nice little, almost like head cheese, for those of you that remember the Steve Blackman and Al Snow pairing from back in the day. Kind of like that, maybe reluctant partners, but once they team up, they'll feel the cooperation come into play and maybe work. So, I'm not saying NXT's tag division is great by any means. It still definitely needs work, but they're putting together teams, which is good. It's a step in the right direction, because the tag division is really kind of the one thing they were lacking. What else happened on NXT this week? Oh, we heard from Sami Zayn. He's good news. The feud with Kevin Owens is going to continue, and he says he's going to be #1 on the hit list when he gets back. So that is good. Bad news, Sami Zayn's gone for the rest of the year, which, that's a shame, but in the long run, it'll help the storyline between him and Kevin Owens, and I think there's possibility Why not do Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania? Why not? I'd be down for that. I mean, all the matches that are being thrown around for WrestleMania next year, like Undertaker and Sting and Triple H and The Rock, which is just like, dude, if you subscribe to the network, you can literally get like a million of those things. Okay, maybe not a million, but you can get a lot of Triple H and Rock matches just by watching the network. I don't think you need to see it again at WrestleMania. I mean, that's just my personal take. But, you see all those matches being thrown around for WrestleMania. I'm like, I'd like to see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn Part 3. Like, round out the trilogy, complete the story at WrestleMania. I'd be totally down for that, but we shall see. We've also got Balor versus Owens 3. Not 2, it's 3, because this will be their third match. I know the first match didn't happen at a special event or anything, but it's still, it happened. Their third match will be taking place at the TakeOver special the night before SummerSlam. And yes, I'm already more excited for the TakeOver special than I am SummerSlam, although we don't know what's going to be at SummerSlam. We don't even really know what's going to be at TakeOver outside of the world title match, but it's just, NXT's track record of putting on stellar shows. It makes me more excited for that by default. All right, so that was NXT. Oh, I also wanted to talk about Samoa Joe. Yeah, I mean, they gave him a squash match, which is fine, but he doesn't... I don't know, it kind of reminds me of when Rob Van Dam came back, and even towards the end of Rob Van Dam's run in TNA, where it looks like, he's hitting all his trademark stuff, but he looks like he's doing it at half speed, and it doesn't look as cool as it did. I mean, this isn't the Samoa Joe that we had like a decade ago, and that's a little... or even like 5 years ago, and it's like, and I guess expecting somebody to perform as... at that high impact, at that high speed, for too long would be, crazy expectations. But, hopefully when they start putting him in real matches, he'll be able to deliver. But, so far I've kind of seen it's like, he kind of looks like he's working at half speed. And I don't know if that's physical limitations or if he's just taking it easy and saving up for the big matches. I don't know. But he doesn't look like the Joe from 10 years ago. And again, I don't mind that he gets squash matches. That's completely fine. I actually champion that. More squash matches, goddammit. But, and that's across the board, not just for Samoa Joe. But, he could probably do a little bit better. But other than that, NXT was very good this week. And again, Charlotte and Sasha Banks, terrific match. Wanted to put that over. Then we got Lucha Underground, which I am so excited for Ultima Lucha. And this is a show that was taped 3 months ago, and I'm going out of my way to avoid any and all spoilers. So, no, I'm totally excited for this event, and I do not want to have anything spoiled for me. They've done such a great job of building up their match. I mean, I'm so stoked for Puma versus Mil Muertes for the Lucha Underground title. That is going to be so much fun. You got Alberto versus Johnny Mundo on there. So if you're a WWE fan and you remember what those guys were like in WWE and you were fans of them, you get that big match. And their first match that they had in Lucha Underground was outstanding. So I can't wait to see what they do here with the rematch now that there's more heat and story put into it. And it looks like the whole thing with the Aztec medallions is going to conclude at Ultima Lucha, which could be great. You got the trios titles. It'll be Son of Havoc, Ivelisse, and Angelico versus the Disciples of Death. You got Drago versus Hernandez, which the recent story that Hernandez had to be pulled, footage of Hernandez had to be pulled from TNA because he was still contractually obligated to Lucha Underground is really crazy because it's like, okay, how did Hernandez not know that he still wasn't under contract with Lucha Underground? And how did TNA not bother to check before they signed him? And another one thing, did Lucha Underground not tell Hernandez? Or did they not make his contract specific? I don't know what the deal was, but it's really weird and really strange. But that something like that can happen. But we're going to get Drago versus Hernandez, which could be really fun. And I'm just happy to see Drago, so... that's all good. And honestly, the only match I'm kind of meh on is Blue Demon versus Tejano, which was set up because Chavo Guerrero got hurt for real, and it kind of threw a couple things out of whack, and they just had to throw that out there. But other than that, I think the card for Ultima Lucha is just looking better and better, and I'm getting so excited for this show. It's crazy. It's just fucking crazy. I can't wait to see it. August 5th, I'm totally going to check it out. I think it's going to be a pretty killer show. And even Vampiro versus Pentagon Jr., a match with a 48-year-old wrestler who hasn't wrestled in God knows how long, is going to be featured on the show. And the storyline for it is so outstanding and so good that I kind of want to see the match just to see what they do. And it's like, that takes talent to get me to care about this match. But Pentagon is such a great heel and such a great character that it just clicked and it just works. And him trying to goad Vampiro out of retirement to face him, I mean, it's a really good angle. I just hope Vampiro can deliver something at least watchable at the show, and it'll live up to the really good build-up, and you get something satisfying out of it. So, fingers crossed. Here we go. But yeah, Ultimate Lucha looks like it's going to be outstanding. So, yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on. A lot of cool stuff. And actually, next week, the G1 Climax starts. I can't wait to start watching some of that. So, a lot of good stuff to look forward to. But the main topic of this video is what happened on Monday Night Raw this week. And I have to say, I did not watch all of Raw. I decided, I can't put myself through 3 hours of this anymore. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have it on mute, kind of be off and doing other things, either reading or on the computer or talking to people or whatever I have to do to kill the time. And if I look up and I notice something interesting on, I'll unmute it and tune in. Much better way to watch the show because it doesn't feel as bloated, it doesn't feel as monotonous, and I'm only watching the good stuff. So, cool beats. And the stuff I saw was not bad. It was actually pretty good. And the three things I watched were the Divas segment, which is going to be, I'm going to get into that. The U.S. title stuff with the three-way and then Cena taking on Rusev, which, good match. Cesaro, I keep hoping he wins one of these matches because, yeah, you can put him in all the 30-minute marathon matches you want, but eventually he's got to start winning these things for it to actually, carry some weight. It's kind of like Kofi Kingston with the Battle Royals. He always has these great moments where he gets out of being eliminated from a Battle Royal, but then he never wins the Battle Royal. It's like, it'd be kind of cool if he actually won a Battle Royal at some point. Not the Royal Rumble, but if they could find a way to get him to win a Battle Royal doing one of his amazing, escape acts, I think it'd be really cool. But anyway, it'd be nice if Cesaro won once in a while. I mean, yeah, they can put him in all these 30-minute matches all they want, but it's like, he's got to start winning, right? I mean, come on. But in the whole thing, Kevin Owens and saying he's going to fight John Cena, and then they do a, they fake us out. They've done that like 6 times, I feel, and then John Cena looks like he's going to lose, and then Owen breaks it up, and I'm like, yeah, they've done that a couple of times too. So maybe getting a little repetitive with Owens and Cena, but hopefully Battleground will be the end of it. Battleground actually this Sunday. I'm not going to preview the show because I feel like I've been talking about it over the course of my videos anyway. I am going to watch it, but I'll probably have a review for it up sometime next week. But but a good match. I thought the three-way was good, so got a nice good match out of it. And I saw the closing segment between Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar, which was very good. Seth kind of carried the segment. It did really well with it. And it kind of, it just painted the proper picture. Lesnar's a monster, and Seth is a coward, and Seth is like this desperate, kind of chicken shit heel. And it all kind of worked together really well. And I look forward to seeing that match at Battleground. I think that's going to be a really good one. But yeah, the main thing I have to talk about is the Divas segment, where Stephanie McMahon came out, talked to the Bellas and Alicia Fox, talked to Paige, and announced that new Divas were coming into the main show. And it was 3 of the NXT 4, the 4 horsewomen, I think they're called. It's Bayley, who's the only one that didn't. She was out with an injury, and she's going to stay on NXT, at least for the time being, which they might, considering how many women they pulled from the NXT women's roster, they might need Bayley there to keep the ship afloat. But you got Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Sasha Banks all making their official appearances on Monday Night Raw and are officially part of the main roster, it appears. And, everybody's been talking about NXT's women's division and how good it is and how it's the best women's division in wrestling. All true. The matches they've had at the TakeOver specials have been amazing. The feuds they've had have been amazing. These are women that actually have character, development, and they put on really good matches. And the division's deep, too. I mean, losing these 3 girls is huge for the division because they were really, probably the 3 best workers that the division had. But when you look at what's left, it's like you still got Bayley, you still got Emma, you still got Dana Brooke's still kind of an unknown at this point, but you've got Carmella, who I like. You've got Blue Pants, who the fans like. This kind of thing that accidentally got over. And they can always work in new girls. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it was a very deep division. And, they're basically taking the best women's division in wrestling, which was in their developmental show, and now they're putting it on their main show. Okay, I mean, that's the goal, right? I mean, that's the goal, to put on all that great stuff on NXT and develop them to get them ready for the main show where they can put on that stuff on a major stage and really make it work and deliver great stuff. And, the Divas division on the main WWE programming, people have talked about it. It's been awful. I mean, just directionless characters, repetitive matches that don't mean anything, matches that are too short, matches that are used as piss breaks, characters that don't make sense, and all these other things. And all of it true. This is their chance to kind of fix everything and actually give the WWE, the main product, a kick-ass women's division, because I've been singing the praises of Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and more recently Becky after the match she had with with Sasha. It's like, all right, you've got 3 really good girls there. You can put them into the system and kind of change the system and make it work and make it good. And it's like, all right, right there in that segment alone, you had 9 girls that you can work with and build a strong, solid division around. And hopefully get everything to deliver. It looked like it's going to be some 3-woman factions. It'll be Paige, Charlotte, and Becky versus the Bellas and Alicia Fox versus Naomi, Tamina, and Sasha Banks, which I'm not sure how Sasha ended up with them, but whatever. But hopefully they explain that. It's like, all right, I'll give you a chance to explain it. You can, you don't have to explain everything right away. You can have a chance to kind of establish these characters, give them motivations and, allies and enemies and all that other stuff, and put all the pieces into place and make it all work down the road. That's all fine. I'm going to give them a shot here. It's like, all right, what you did on Monday was really cool, really awesome, got people talking, got a good buzz. That's all really good. I'm just looking forward to seeing what they do with it. Hopefully they don't ruin it. Hopefully they look at NXT and go, this is what a women's division should look like, and not, what we've been putting on for the last few years. Really ever since Trish and Lita retired. Let's be honest. Not that they've had untalented girls, quite the opposite. They've had some very talented girls. It's just that they weren't put into a system where they could really showcase what they could do. Emma, she came from NXT, goes to the main roster, and they make her a complete doofus and never do anything with her. And it's like, well, okay. So hopefully they learned their lesson and they know the strengths of Charlotte and Sasha and Becky Lynch, and hopefully they're able to showcase that in a meaningful way and make the women's division a worthwhile part of the show. Because I've said it before, I'm a fan of whatever's good, and if these women can go out there and deliver something good and be entertaining and deliver awesome matches, I'm totally up for it. And this idea that, I know Charlotte has said in the past that her goal is to main event a pay-per-view. I don't see why she can't. If her stuff is good enough and if her stuff is interesting enough and exciting and I want to see the match, why can't it main event? Of course I'm an advocate that the world title doesn't need to be featured on every single pay-per-view, and they should open the door to creating different main events for each show. If they're going to do one pay-per-view a month, there's room to kind of keep things fresh and not just force a world title match onto every single pay-per-view just for the sake of having one. I think it would actually make the world title more interesting. It's one of the reasons I defended Brock Lesnar's title reign, where everybody else was bashing it. I'm like, no, it's like, all right, you can say whatever you want, but every time Brock Lesnar comes back and defends the title, you can't miss it. It's a big deal. So I'm not saying it was the most perfect thing, and they probably could have done it better. I wouldn't have had him work with Cena 3 times, but it was a lot more interesting not having the world title matches all the time. It actually made it feel more special. So, but that's a whole nother discussion for another time. But the Divas kind of stole the show on Raw this week and had that really killer segment, and it's time to springboard this and working into something really good. So again, here's hoping. Some people have said there's no Divas match set for Battleground. They could very well shoehorn one in there, but I don't think there needs to be. I feel like, look, the segment just happened this week. You can give the story time to breathe. You don't have to force it onto the next pay-per-view. You could probably do like a three-woman team battle at SummerSlam or something, and just build up to that. You don't need to force anything onto Battleground, but give the story time to breathe and let the characters establish themselves a little bit better, and take the time to write a better story, and hopefully it all turns out really, really well. Again, fingers crossed. Here's hoping. But yeah, the segment on Raw was really, really cool, and I wanted to put it over and talk about it. And it's one of the best things the Divas division on Raw has done in a long time, and it was entirely dependent on the fact that they had these awesome women in their developmental system that finally got brought up and were allowed to deliver. So here's hoping that trend continues, and here's hoping for some killer stuff down the road. So all of that is awesome, but that is all I have for you now. I will be back next week, probably with a review of Battleground, probably with some talk about the G1 Climax if I manage to catch some of those shows as well. And maybe, who knows, maybe I'll end up going to Death Before Dishonor. Here's hoping. I would like to. It's just a matter of if I'm able to get out of work early enough on Friday night and be able to go see it. But in any case, that is all I have for you now. Thank you all for watching, and enjoy your weekend.